so happy. Ha 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 happy. Hello. Hello, Lily Pals. Welcome. Happy Friday 13. I got a little jitter. Got a little jitters. I gotta adjust the mic a little bit. It's probably just Straga's fans. Happy Miss Voorhees Day! I don't think, if memory serves, I've never actually watched any of the Friday the 13th movies, but I know when I was younger, I just think my favorite slasher was probably Jason, just from vibes. Yeah, Miss Voorhees is Jason's mother. Yeah. Yeah. I haven't seen the movies, but like, at the very least I know what the first one is about. I know about, Camp Crystal Lake and yeah. He's the killer from number 2 and onward. I remember just it was weird, like I was younger and I didn't fully realize just the capacity to which my autism and ADHD manifested in my behavior in my childhood. And so, like, oftentimes I would have these periods of, like, there's this particular series or, like, subject that I'm just very passionate about, and then after X amount of time passes, I burn out on it, and then I find something else. Usually it ends up winding back to some other series that I was like really into, like I would fixate on. So like it would go Pokemon, and then let's say Custom Robo, and then Godzilla, and then one of those was literally like 80s slasher flicks. Hello, Oshio! Hello, wifey! But anyway, I remember when I had my, my slasher fixation, literally I was trying to formulate with my best friends at the time, like which one of us would be which slasher. I wanted to be Jason, and then I had two of my friends in this friend group actually had the same name, so we like had to go like, name S and then name R. So like friend S I decided was well, actually no, I had a very like off and on again friendship with friend S. Just because like at the time I think our personalities didn't really mesh too well. I found him really obnoxious. And then okay, so that would be friend R. I think friend R would have been Freddy Krueger. And then I had another friend who I would have given Michael Myers. And then I'm not even sure if he qualifies as a slasher per se. A horror character for sure, but slasher, I'm not so confident. But like my last friend in that friend group, I would give the role of Pinhead from Hellraiser. If I was a slasher, I would be the guys from Scream, because I'd be incompetent, gay-coded, and fumbling over everything. Also, hello, boyfie! I love you! Hello, soul! I was just talking a bit briefly about slashers. And thank you for the early trifecta of health. I have water. Okay, good. It doesn't taste that bad. I'm pretty sure it won't be tasting bad from this point forward, but you never know. You know, all it takes is just like turning the faucet a little bit off kilter. Why would it taste bad? Because when I moved into this new house, like we figured out that our water supply is drawn from a well, and it is rusty. Very rusty. But the kitchen faucet thankfully has a filter, but it only works if it's turned all the way to cold. But, you know, faucets. We've since gotten a water softener, but the water is not really any more palatable just because of the salt content that it puts into the system thing. How are you supposed to wash the dishes? We have a dishwasher. I don't know the specifics. I just know, like, it was a new dishwasher that was installed, like, right as we were moving in. Rusty water just ain't good to drink. Probably good for washing and cleaning. I suppose. You just have to stay on top of, like, actually, like, wiping it clean, or else, like, it'll stain. I know, in my bathroom, both the sink and, you know, a bunch of, the toilet is still stained from when there was still a bit of rust content. Anyway, tonight I'm gonna be reading some spoopy stuff from our beloved little series. It's not quite creepypasta. It's not quite SCP. It's called The Holders. Not nearly as well known or popular as either of them, but it's got a little cult following. I've been reading a whole bunch of these Holder stories periodically, because they're creepy and disturbing. Beholders? Is this D&D or Eldritch in style? No, it's The Holders. The. Like the. Thy, thou, thus. Yeah, and of course I have a little content warning, because, you know, disturbing graphic content and descriptions. Oh, it's about Atlas and his vacation, checking things out and holding them. We can go with that. You really do live on a haunted house witch property, and proud of it. Or at the very least, happy with it. Okay. RNG, you can safeguard the content warning. And then I will summon the wifey frog in one hand, and the boyfie frog in the other. Rawr, all the content warnings. Okay. Creepypasta stuff is interesting. Yeah. It's kind of interesting how lately it seems to be going through sort of a revival. Seems like people are coming back and kind of re-exploring and kind of expanding on some of the classics. And I kind of love to see it. Is there a creepypasta about a scary spaghetti? I'm sure if we looked hard enough. We could probably find something about the flying spaghetti monster. Anyway, so to quickly summarize, The Holders is a series of stories that describe a variety of different hypothetical trials that you can put yourself through in order to obtain a powerful object of some sort. Usually these trials are horrific and mind-bending / mind-breaking, permanently scarring and transformative. More often than not, it's not a fun time. But you get a neat little trinket if you succeed. And there are 538 of these objects, and each one has a trial or process unique to each one. This is Soph. He was a trickster god offering opportunities. Okay, so I know last time I briefly checked before we started. We left off on number 90, so we're almost in the hundreds now. And so now we're on 91, the Holder of Honor. So just sit back, relax with your snacks and your drinkies, and just vibe with the spooks. Also, before I forget, I'll just quickly mention tonight's flavored beverage of choice is Sparkling Frost Orange Mango. I had cream soda earlier, but I drank the rest of the can before I started because it was too delicious. Laughing Jack was an odd one. There's quite a few creepy pastas with the name like Jack, and so like I tend to mix them up. But anyway, the Holder of Honor. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself into. When you reach the front desk, ask to visit someone who calls himself the Holder of Honor. The attendant will look up from his papers and hand you a thick tarot card. Should you be given the Moon card, then you know you are ready to face this trial. However, if the attendant passes you the Devil card, turn away and do not return until you have lived through another of the Holder's ordeals. Only with their infernal strength will you survive this task. If you remain, the attendant will ask you to check the church at the end of the street and return to his paperwork. Leave the building and walk leisurely down the street, and enjoy what may be your final moments alive. When you reach the end of the road, you will see an old, dilapidated structure that may have been a house of worship a long time past. Enter the door carefully, lest the frame collapse on you. You will be surrounded by light, and taken to the place where the objects you have gathered lay before you, along with 2 doors. Know now that if you lack the cloak, the beast's resolve, the shield, holder of solitude or holder of the shield, or the sword, then take the door on the left and leave, for you are doomed to fail. If you possess one or more of these objects, then choose one and enter the door to your right. You will pass into a hellish expanse of wasteland, its horizons surging with infernal flames and showers of blood pounding the barren ground beneath your feet. Far in the distance, a tall structure juts out, its stark and polished whiteness blaring its presence to everything here. And, rest assured, you are not alone. You will only have a handful of seconds to take in these sights before a horde of demons begins to rush towards you. If you carry the cloak with you, drape it over yourself and walk towards the building. The creatures are an extension of the holder, who sees you through their hatred. Otherwise, arm yourself with the plain sword that appears at your feet, as the king's blade will not come free should you wear it. The demons are numerous but frail. They exist only as a thought, and one stroke will cleave them apart. No matter how you do so, it will take a very long time to reach the structure, but you will never find yourself tired from the exertions of moving or fighting. Conflict is the food of life here, and you are part of its source. When you climb onto the first step of the entrance, the endless swarm of creatures pouring from its doors will finally halt, and the crowd that eagerly pressed against itself to flay you will calm and watch your every movement as you ascend to the large, opulent doors. They will part as you walk, forming a silent, vigilant ring that urges you toward their keeper. The inside is just as lavish as its outer shell, dressed in fine fabrics and frescoes, beautiful statues, and beautiful mosaics inlaid into the floor. The holder's minions will form a solid path from which you should not dare deviate. They are much more resilient here within their home. Follow your only sensible option for as long as it leads you, but do not turn back or make to leave. Your passage will lead to a spacious and stark room, dotted only by a throne and 2 figures, a naked, beautiful brown-skinned woman reclining in the seat, and a pale man bedecked in armor kneeling on the floor in front of her. Instantly, you will feel a lust you have never felt before. Ignore it, or you will be flayed by the night for your insolence. Instead, state without fear that you have come to answer the challenge. With a wave of the woman, the knight will rise, don a helmet, and bring sword and shield to bear. Should you possess the sword, the blade you were given will morph into a round shield, and your own weapon will let itself be drawn. Should you lack the sword, the knight will toss one to you, a shield, letting it slide to a halt at your feet. One way or another, when you have equipped yourself properly, a suit of half-plate will form around you, and the knight will charge. Now, it is up to you and your skills. If you chose the sword, know that his armor alone will not save him, as the king's blade will batter and eventually pierce the heavy metal. If you opted to take the shield, then do not fear the knight's blade, for it cannot break the hellish protector. But whatever you decided, be aware that the knight is a very formidable opponent. he will use any means he can to defeat you, whether it be his blade, his shield, or his punishing, steel-hardened strikes from his hands and feet. To best the knight, you must cleave his sword arm from his body. Only then will he yield, kneeling to you and ignoring the mangled, bleeding stump. If you are victorious, the woman will rise and walk towards you. Kneel, and hold your weapon tight in your hand. She will tell you, "Obey the strong, destroy the weak." Now, ignoring your temptation, ram the blade through her gut and wrench it upwards. Heeding your temptation will only result in your being lost in eternal bliss, and any objects you have collected will return to their holders. As her body slumps to the floor, sheath your blade and offer the knight his missing arm. As he holds it back to the wound, his armor will shatter, revealing him to be a humanoid figure with fire-blackened skin, golden hair, and deep amethyst eyes that bore into your soul. He will compliment you on your fight, and on seeing through his master's illusion. He will speak in length of the measures that were placed in this realm to guard the object here, and how he extended them through himself. When he finishes, he will permit you to ask one question. You must request of him, "Why do you follow him, my lord?" The holder will seat himself as he tells you, in a gravelly voice that holds the weight of ages of vows, how he fought his way into his favor, and describe, in painful detail, how he fought him and lost. The words will take shape as the Hell Knight speaks, burning the images of the entire story into your memory. The holder will explain the agonizing torture he suffered, and you shall feel his pain as he speaks. If your mind cannot endure this, then you will take the dead woman's place as the holder's next decoy. But if you persevere, then the holder will tell you the vow he took to escape the unending torment. When this is finished, he will stand and offer you the only remaining piece of his armor, the gauntlet, which is still pristine despite the battle. Replace yours with the one you are offered. Then, the holder will advise you to arm yourself again, for you must fight your way to the entrance of his home. Only when you are ready will he order his minions to attack. If you chose to carry the beast's resolve, it will manifest itself now, surging through your body and lending you the strength of the most fearsome of demons. Otherwise, it will be a long and savage battle to the front door. If you manage to reach the foyer alive and rend through the frenzy around you to the door, white light will surround you, yanking you across dimensions and dropping you outside the wrecked church. Everything will be gone. Your chosen object returned to its place of holding, but the knight's gift will remain. That gauntlet is object 91 of 538, the Hand of Obedience. Though he cannot aid you, the knight hopes that you will free him from his servitude. Walks up and asks the attendant, and I get the 5 of Cups, and I'm like, what the fuck do I do with this? Demons rush towards me? Easy, I just press E. That's what you do for rush. I'm not sure how you pronounce this. The holder of Salmachus. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house. Go immediately to the front desk and ask the clerk to let you visit the holder of Salmachus. Should they look you up and down judgmentally, you have come to the right place. They will push a hidden button. Stand perfectly still. The janitor will come and escort you into an adjacent hallway and through a door. Once through the door, he will take you by the shoulders and ask you if you have met with the holder of passion. Answer honestly. If your answer is no, he will shove you out the door. Run fast and run far. Do not stop until the sun sets twice, for every plant in the city will wish to crush your body to bloody dust. If your answer was yes, he will take you deeper into the complex. You will hear a variety of screams, both male and female. If you were to look into the doors of the hall, you would see in each a man and a woman, sewn together in every grotesque manner. Do not look in these doors. If you do, you will be taken into one of them and sewn to another person without anesthesia, and they will forever struggle to pull away from you, tugging at the seams until your skin threatens to tear. Since you do not look in, the janitor will take you to the end of the hall. He will take you through another door and take you by the hand. He will ask if you have met with the holder of innocence. Answer honestly. If your answer is no, he will glare at you angrily and smash your head against the door until your brains cover you. This hall will not allow you to die from this, and instead you will lay there for all eternity without the ability to move or ponder anything beyond your own pain. If your answer was yes, he will take you down this new hallway. It will appear to wind and twist like a serpent coiled around a cylinder. Do not be fooled. This hallway is straighter than any arrow. Step off the true path and you will fall for all eternity. When you reach the end, he will ask you one last question. Have you met with the holder of the Triskelion? Do not answer. This is a trick, one that will cost you your life unless you discover its secret. There is no holder of the Triskelion. Instead, you must hold up either Object 5 or 13, the Eye of Light, or the Shattered Hourglass of Darkness. If you say anything or hold up any other object, even those in the deepest pits of hell will weep for you. He will take you within one final door and lock you inside. This room will be pitch dark and empty, save for the door, a chair, and an antique clock. Sit in the chair and pat your inner thighs thrice. Turn the chair to face the clock. Then stand and move the hands of the clock back 4 minutes and 13 seconds. The door will slide away and reveal a hallway different from the one you were in before. This forgotten hallway will appear run down, save for the ivory statuettes of both men and women flanking you along the walls. Though beautifully carved, these statuettes will have their faces racked with the pain of childbirth. Yes, even the male statues will have distended bellies from a child their bodies should never be able to bring to term, and they cannot push them from their bodies. Do not touch these statues. Alright then. Run now, down to the end of the hall. Do so quickly, for time has begun again, and your window is short. At the end, you will find a chainsaw with a diesel engine. Start it up. Slash and carve away at all the statuettes. Do not let a single one survive, and do not let a single shard of them touch you. If you fail in this, the statuettes will grow to full human height and set upon you, and will do every manner of unclean act to you. When they are finished, you become just as them, forever giving birth, forever defiling, never free. Pray this is not your fate, and you will still have time to return to the room with the clock from whence you came. Sit in the chair and face the clock, but do not let the chainsaw stop running. The clock's gears will fall down, forming a mouth full of gear teeth. This mouth will pucker. Lean down and kiss it. Be sure your eyes are closed and your kiss is passionate. Accept its porcelain tongue in your mouth as you would a lover. If you do not, those same gears will pulverize you slowly. Do not stop kissing if arms wrap around your shoulders or porcelain legs around your waist. This is the holder of Salmacis. She will appear as a perfect doll woman, a mannequin correct in anatomy down to every inch, all save for a bracket just above her nethers. Do not stare at this bracket. Stare only into her eyes. Only the seeker of holders should have made it this far, she will say. Are you the seeker? Tell her the truth. For your punishment, if you are not, will pale in comparison to the 7 hells visited upon you for lying. If you are the seeker, she will begin to talk. She will tell you of her twin sister, the bride and holder of the seeker. She will tell you of her many surgeries. She will tell you in vivid detail of her slow transformation into a living doll, each cut and seam made without anesthesia. Do not listen, or your body will undergo the same surgeries as she speaks them. Instead, squat down and pat your inner thighs once per second, 253 times. When you have done this, she will be done speaking. Ask her, "How may I deliver our last hope?" She will smile at you and reach up, grabbing unseen handles in the ceiling. She will lift herself into the air, but her legs and waist will not come with her. Now you must complete the body. Place into the pelvis, object 18, the uterus of passions. Attach to the bracket, object 19, the phallus of innocence. She will then descend and reattach. Quickly, hold her close to you, for a circle of sharp blades will fire up from the floor, carrying with it crimson silk. Do not let go of her. Ignore the searing, slicing pain in your legs and abdomen. Clutch her close. Ignore the spray of blood from your chest. If you were to let her go now, this pain would be yours eternally. She will then step back and drop to the floor. Her pelvis will be missing, and her breasts will be gone. She will be dead. The searing pain in your loins and chest will subside, but do not look down. If you do so now, a madness beyond all others will take you. The silk ring will twist and twirl, tightening into rope with you still inside. Do not panic. Do not struggle. When it seems you will be crushed, the silk will slip around you. You will find yourself standing before 3 doors. 2 will be restroom doors. 1 will have a strange mark. Take the center door with the mark. You will find yourself in a restroom, similar to a men's restroom, but sweet-smelling, and with a dispenser for feminine hygiene products. Go into one of the stalls and look down. The pelvis you constructed in the holder of Salmacis, as well as her breasts, are now yours. Become acquainted with your new body. When you are done, leave the restroom, and you will find yourself in the lobby of the mental institution. Her pelvis is object 92 out of 538. With it, you may bear the child of passions and innocence, Whether you taint it with light or darkness is up to you. Alright, that one was a bit wild. Salmon smacking on a kiss. When I typed this, I didn't expect this one to be so spicy. Yeah, sometimes it goes into territories. Bizarre territories. This one should be more straightforward, though. The holder of slaughter. In any city, in any country, go to any wedding you can get yourself into. Walk up to the stage and ask the organ player to see someone called the holder of slaughter. Should he give you a sly grin, you have come to the right place. With a wink, he will pass a machete to you from under the keys and tell you to lock the doors. Stride purposefully to every door and make sure they will not open, and do not worry that anyone will see the weapon. Tap the hilt of the blade to every locked door and every window. This will ensure that no one escapes. When you have done so, move to the farthest row of pews and stand in the aisle until the organ player strikes up a mournful, haunting melody, much to the confusion of the assembled well-wishers. Wait for exactly 29 measures to pass. When the 30th measure begins, lift the machete over your head and strike the first person who is within your reach. Amidst the terrified screams, the music should become louder, ringing through the pipes with force enough to shake the entire church to the foundation. Now you must, with great leisure and deliberation, move back and forth along the pews, slashing at every occupant of the building. You must show no mercy, no hesitation, only a slight bemusement at seeing the floors and your body washed in innocent blood. If you allow even the smallest hint of mercy to enter your mind, the forces in the blade will consume your soul, torturing it with endless guilt and agony, while your body becomes their tool. As you sweep along the rows, you may hear the preacher continuing to speak, highlight all of the best deeds of humanity and citing many things you and your family have done. Listen not to his sermon, for he knows this game well and is trying to confuse you into pausing. When the rows are clear, kill anyone standing at the doors and watch them scramble to the main aisle, gathering in front of the podium. Flames will leap from the keys of the ancient instrument as you methodically walk towards them, outlining the few remaining survivors. Give them your maddest grin and tell them, soothingly, only the tainted fear death. Lash out and cleave the groom's head in two. Killing anyone else with this blow will alert heavenly powers to your presence. The man's head will explode, but the body will turn and leap to the preacher. Spikes of bone will erupt from the corpse, severing many of the elderly man's arteries. Now, you may finish off the rest of the guests, but save the bride for last. She will fall to the ground, weeping uncontrollably. Kneel down to her and pull her head to face your gaze. Kiss her on the forehead and ask her where God is. If she begins to laugh, then he is here and will exact a punishment that will rival all the pains of the Old Testament. Should she cry harder, wailing with grief, then pull her gently to a stand and embrace her. The organ player will now rise, a a corona of fire wreathing his body, allowing the instrument to play itself, and walk down the stairs to you with an outstretched hand. Give him the machete, and do your best not to feel any regret. Flames will surround the weapon, and he will ram it through both of you. The bride will be in too much pain to scream, as both of your bodies are burned to ash. If you have any remorse at all for what you have done, then this pain will only be the beginning of your eons-long torture. If you have none, then it will feel as if the fire has permeated your very soul, obscuring your vision with a red haze. Then, like a wisp of smoke, they will be gone, and you will see the church again. Only now, it is an effigy of hell. The walls are now crafted of flesh, oozing blood and pus from countless gaping wounds. Fire sprouts up from the floor with no warning, and the air is heavy with the cries of thousands of tortured dead. All of the revelers are chained to crudely formed pews of bone, impaled in every joint by nigh-molten skewers of steel. The bride will be before the podium, her limbs spread wide as she is secured to a rack-like device. Clusters of grotesque, malformed demons will peruse the crowd, randomly grouping together and ravishing the helpless souls, staining them with gouts of saliva, semen, and blood. And in all of this, you must stand and watch, unfazed. Even wincing once at the various activities will cause the demons to mistake you for one of the guests, and subject you to the same treatment. After a handful of eternities, the demons will all converge on the bride, pleasing themselves in fashions that no ordinary human would be possible to achieve. Chunks of flesh, human and demonic, will fly through the air while they rape the woman's soul. When all of them seem to stop, take 4 steps down the aisle. They will all disperse, leaving her covered in more fluids that you will be able to identify. The organ player will appear before you, saying that you have performed a unique and kind service for him, and state that he will give you one concession for your deeds. Ask him, in an even voice, "Why do they kill?" He will look at you, clearly confused for a moment. Ask him again, and he will break into a kind, fatherly smile, and explain, in a voice that is neither human nor demon, the multitude of reasons they have for seeing so many dead. Visions of great atrocities will swim in your mind as he speaks, picturing every one with you as their instigator. This may drive you mad, but if you are truly set in this path, you will see them as only a minor annoyance. When he is finished, he will tell you it's time to go, and touch you on the shoulder. The pain of immolation will strike you again, and everything will go dark. You will wake up the next day in the place you call home, with the morning's newspaper beside you. Its headline will shout of the mysterious murders of an entire wedding party, with no suspects to be had. Beside the paper, there will be a thank you note with a signet ring attached. This is Object 93 of 538, the seal of eternal genocide. Your path is set, for you are now beyond redemption. Yeah, the content warnings are there for a reason. Sex and blood are all wrapped up together, just ask Pinhead. Dance, dance, French Revolution! Okay. the holder of the self. In any city, in any country, go into any mental institution or halfway house you can get into. Go to the front desk and ask to see the one who calls himself the holder of the self. They will cock an eyebrow at you, then throw a bit of whatever they were eating at you and call you an idiot. Repeat your request, and they will relent. They will take you behind a door and wave you to an examination table. They will then leave, shaking their head at you. Take off your clothes, although you may keep on your underwear if you choose. Lay back on the table, your arms at your side, and your legs slightly spread to the edges of the table. At this moment, dozens of monstrous hands will burst from the table, grasping with their jagged, filthy nails into your body. Struggle all you like. You are theirs now. They will begin kneading your skin, pushing and twisting, tickling and caressing. More will erupt from under you, pushing into your back with their knuckles. If at this point you cannot stand the treatment, if you are far too disgusted by their attentions, merely say, "I reject this test. End it." They will pull at your extremities, ripping you apart, joint by joint. This will be mercy. If, however, you can stand this, say, "I relax in your care. Bring me to the object, O holder." At this point, 5 arms will erupt from the bed. 2 will cover your eyes. 2 will grasp your mouth and hold it open as it can be. You will taste the salt and grime on their fingers. The last one will hold a bit of sweet fruit. It will dangle it across your tongue, and its juice will dribble into your mouth. You will want to hold this fruit in your mouth for a day, then begin to chew for the rest of eternity. Do not bite it. Do not savor its flavor. This is a trap. If you give in to this sweet fruit, your corpse will be as a sweet fruit for the million hands of the holder. If you pass this test, you will be rewarded. The hands will transform as they need you. They will be as soft and delicate as a young maiden's. Their nails will be perfectly trimmed and manicured. The smell of elegant perfume will gently waft across your nose. It will not be very powerful at all, but tantalizing. You will hear a chanting from inside your mouth, in a voice that is not your own. This was, the sweet fruit. It is now dried up into a small, ashy stone. It will chant of the heroes who tasted its brothers and sisters of yesteryear. Relax, for now the holder is pleased with you. When your relaxation has drifted you off into a state of utter bliss, the ash fruit will be withdrawn from your mouth. The hands that held open your mouth will grip your throat tight enough that you cannot escape. The hands that closed over your eyes will open, but only far enough to see straight ahead. The hands that once caressed you will hold you tightly, almost painfully. You will be tilted into a vertical position, and the long eye stalks of the holder will poke into your limited view. They will watch you, some of them critically, some of them angrily, some of them sympathetically, and some will look at you lewdly. Say to it, "May this body offend your eyes, O holder. Bring me the object." Pray that this is true, for if it is not, the holder will rip out your arms and eyes, and you will forever experience life through it. If you are indeed offensive to its eyes, you may still count yourself unlucky, for your quest will not end this day. From between your legs will erupt a pair of arms, Held in their hands will be a massive, jagged, ornate key. It will stab you in the chest and rip out from you a glowing light. The wound where it plunged into you will be gone. The key will be tossed away. The sphere of light will consume the key. It will take on a form identical to yours, and will dim until it is your exact twin. Your twin will discuss with you all manner of things. What it will say, none may know, except that to answer its questions and respond to its statements will slowly erode your every mental defense. Be perfectly honest with it, in precise and full detail. If you wish to laugh, laugh. If you wish to cry, cry. If you are enraged, yell. Hold nothing back. Focus only on your twin. Do not look at the eyes or hands, no matter what they do. Do not listen to the whispers coming from the hands on the side of your head. If you do, you will be crushed, and your twin will drink deeply of your blood. When your twin is done with their conversation, it will revert to being a key, a small key. At that point, the hands by your head will say, "Speak, for you have faced yourself." Ask it only one question. Who are we to him? The hands will hold your neck absolutely still. You will not be able to move your head. The hands will close over your eyes and mouth. You will be unable to speak or see. The hands will spread your arms and legs as far as they might be spread. You will not be able to move. You will feel something slimy sliding across the inside of your thighs. You will be unable to protest. At that point, the holder will describe to you every single evil thing that he has done to humanity, and every evil thing he will do to humanity. He will describe in vivid detail how each of the objects will be used to discover and create new evils to perform and enact. Then he will describe, to your horror, the results of these evils. He will tell you tales of the husks of humanity as they spend the rest of eternity reenacting his work, writhing in an agony beyond all imaginable hells multiplied together. And then, beyond it all, he will tell you of the abominations reserved by him for you, to be heaped upon you by those innocents you once held dear. Then he will tell you what humanity is to him. This knowledge alone may kill you. Without warning, the hands will stretch you, pulling you apart until you think you might break. Then it will fold you at each of your joints until you are rolled into a ball. It will pull and stretch and twist your body every which way, and your body will scream in pain as the holder discovers new ways to contort your body without destroying it. Then it will dump you on the floor. You will be fully clothed, and in your pocket will be a small, jagged, ornate key, the key of the inner self. With it, you will discover the inner truths of any person or object you stab with it. You may leave at any time. That key is object 94 out of 538. May it never discover the truths of the others. Stream laggy at me or others too? It's not telling me that I've had any dropped frames so far. So I guess my guess would be it's on your end. It went away, so it proves me. Okay, good. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can continue all the way to 100. Perhaps a little over. First, let me take a little drink. But I always try and check with chat in those cases, just in case. Uh... 1 billion? I do believe you just typed out 1 billion. Or wait. Maybe it's 1 trillion. 1 billion holders or more. Okay. The holder of purpose. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself into. When you reach the front desk, ask to visit someone who calls himself the holder of purpose. A look of pained depression will cross his face, and he will stand up and walk out of the room. Follow him out and down the hall. Eventually he will unlock a set of chained double doors, beyond which is another hall. The worker will go no further, pointing you down the hall before returning to his post. The lights further down the hall won't seem to be working. Once you're a ways in, the double doors behind you will slam shut. You will hear the rattle of chains on the other side. Walk down the dark hallway. It will seem longer than the span of the entire building. Soon you will notice torsos on long chained hooks all around you. Even now, they still live. Their cries will rake your ears. No words escape their lips as they know no language. All they know is pain. Their eyes have been torn out and stream red tears of blood. Their hearts are exposed and still beat even with the cold metal chains impaled through them. Their arms end in bloody stumps at their elbows, and their bodies end at the base of their rib cage. They flail their stubs of arms. Their heads squirm, crying for release from their cruel fate. Black, unnatural birds with curved talons and sharp, barbed beaks circle above. The birds feast on these bodies in small, tortured portions. You will see that thousands of birds occupy this hall. Pay them no mind, and be as quiet as you can. If they notice your presence, they will cry for their keeper, and you will join the men in their eternal torture. As you proceed down the hall, their cries will stifle behind you. The moment the last of the screams fade away, yell out, "I only wish to know!" If a cloaked figure with huge, terrible black wings appears in front of you, it is already too late. The keeper of the birds has found you. The chain he holds in his hands will be the one you hang from to feed his children. But if a bridge is revealed to you, cross it quickly. Across the bridge, there is a faceless man dressed in white. His body is sickly pale and bony. He holds a pair of scales made of white gold with beautifully perfect designs. The craftsmanship put into making the scales is beyond comprehension. Do not stare at it long. Look directly at where his eyes should be, and ask only one thing. What is their purpose? He will hold up his scales in front of him and answer you. His explanation is not meant for human ears. The faceless man will defile and rape your mind as he forces it to comprehend the magnitude of the universe and all things, physical and planar, real and ethereal. You will scream as your one singular being is weighed against all things. This torturous mind-raking will delve into your soul and go on for what seems like hours, perhaps days. His explanation will force you to realize how insignificant you really are, how nothing would have changed in the grand scheme of things if you had never been born. For a brief moment, you will understand the work and craftsmanship put into the scales. Your mind will be nearly torn asunder by the comprehension of this beauty and perfection. You won't want to look away from it, for its enticing allurement will steal your breath away. Despite this, muster all of your willpower and avert your eyes. When he finishes, most go insane from the maddening explanation. Others sink into an inconsolable depression as his words echo in their minds forever. The faceless man calls the keeper for these people. They are fated to join the rest on chains. But if you manage to stand in front of him, look back into his face, and then kneel before him, he will hand you the scales. The scales are object 95 of 538. It has the power to weigh one's soul against all things. Do you carry a fate that can make it balance? They really love using the canola seed R word, eh? Yeah. I'm trying to think when these were first written. It was definitely like early mid 2010s. You know, not as old as like some of the classic creepypastas, but you know, still kind of from an era where, you know, edgier language and such was still a bit more in vogue. It makes sense as the writing style is very reminiscent of H.P. Lovecraft, so I get it. At least there's no N-word everywhere. As much of a saving grace as that can be. Or I guess silver lining is probably a better way to phrase that. Okay. The holder of rest. In any city, in any country, go to any hotel or bed and breakfast you can get yourself into. When you reach the front desk, ask to visit someone who calls himself the holder of rest. If the clerk ignores you, turn and leave, and depart the continent as fast as you have the means to. Do not stop until you are across the ocean. Only the salt waters will save you from their wrath. If, however, he should look at you and then return to his work, ask again, adding that you are a relative of his. The clerk will sigh and pull out a large book. Wait calmly, with your hands by your side, as he looks through it. Do not clear your throat. Do not adjust your stance. Do not show any impatience. After what seems like hours, the clerk will finally look up at you and tell you a room number. Do not forget this number. Thank him and turn from the desk. Find the nearest staircase and begin climbing to the floor indicated in the first 2 digits of the room number. Pay attention, though, for the floors are not numbered in order, and you will not be able to go back. After climbing countless flights, you will reach the floor you seek. Go through the door, and you will find yourself in a normal-seeming hallway. Here, too, the numbering is not sequential, and you will have to hunt for the holder's room. When you find it, knock twice and wait. Be wary, though, that you have the right room, for behind each of the other doors are horrors that will earn you the pity of those damned to hell. Should you have the right room, however, after 10 seconds, you will hear a man ask who it is. Do not reply. He will ask louder. Still, you must hold your tongue. Finally, you will hear him unlock the door. Before he opens it, quickly say, "You need no weapon, sir. I wish only to talk." If you are not fast enough, be glad that the extraordinary pain will only last a moment. Should you have gotten your words out in time, you will hear him stop and put something down. The man who opens the door will be dressed in a white shirt and suit pants, with his tie undone as though he was just returning from a long meeting. Bow to him and ask if you may enter. Stand upright and look at his eyes while he looks you over. If he approves, he will open the door wider and wave you in. If he does not, he will slam the door, and you will be forced to wander the hotel for the rest of eternity. Once you are both inside his room, he will sit down on his bed and mute the television. Then he will ask, "So, what is it you need?" Look him in the eye and reply, "Will I be able to rest?" He will sigh and motion for you to sit down. He will then tell you about the others that have sought the holders, their trials, their successes, and their inevitable failures. He will describe every detail, every movement, and every false move. Listen closely so that you may not repeat their errors. Finally, he will tell you if you will ever be able to rest again. Know, though, that his pronouncement is final. When he is finished, apologize for interrupting him, thank him for his time, and stand up to leave. He will ask you to wait a moment and pull something from the suitcase beside his bed. He will then throw you a pillow and wish you the best of luck. Find the elevator and ride it to the ground floor, and you will be in the lobby of the hotel nearest your home. This pillow is Object 96 of 538. When you are weary, sleep upon it, and you shall be renewed. Kind of a strangely wholesome one for once. The Holder of Martyrdom. In any city, in any country, go to any mental hospital or halfway house you can get yourself into. When you reach the front desk, ask the young man working there if you can see the Holder of Martyrdom. A most grievous look should overcome the worker's face, with a small smile of regret buried beneath. He will escort you to an elevator whose buttons go up to 538. Press any button you wish, for your destination will be the same. Once the doors close, you should hear a flurry of shrieks. If at any point the shrieks change to babies crying, quickly press another button and yell, "She did it for the world!" If the door opens and there is a small man in a tuxedo, get ready to suffer through the same trials of hell that she had to, something that drives mortals past death. However, if the door opens and you can still hear your better judgment reasoning with you to turn back, then you're still alive. Once you take a step off the elevator, your chance to turn back will have been revoked. Make your way down the pitch-black hall that lies in front of you and touch nothing but the walls. At the end of the wall, there will be an empty room on your left. Feel your way into it. Slowly and silently open the door. Beneath the dead window ahead should be a figure wrapped in bloodied bandages. Look only at her. Ask only one question. Why did you fight so hard for it? The bandaged figure should light the room, revealing the 10 tortures she was put through. But do not look away from her. A smile should warm your soul, and a smile should form on your face. If this does not happen, then your body will be replaced with hers. Your blood will stain the bandages, and this place will become your new casket. She will tell you her story and the plan they had intricately laid out in great detail. Listen well. When her smile disappears, you ought to hear the ding of elevator doors opening. Grab the bandage that covers her mouth and run like hell back to the elevator. Let's not talk about what will happen if you do not make it. That bandage is Object 97 of 538. Their suffering was for these objects. Keep them apart. Always a small mercy when it's a shorter one like that. The holder of the second seed. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself into. Ignore the attendant and talk to everyone in any visitor's area. Learn their stories, why they are there, what their relationship with the person they are visiting is, what they would give to have it all turn out okay. And if they know, the holder of the second seed. After you are done, there should be a single person waiting there that wasn't there before. A sweet-looking thing with cold eyes. A definite form is undetermined at this point. Upon talking to him or her, he or she will ask you about these people you have talked to. At every wrong answer, they will make the condition of the person you answered wrong on noticeably worse. Upon your finishing this quiz, they will open a bathroom door and ask you to join them. The door should lock behind you. The bathroom will be nothing special at the beginning. Same fluorescent lighting, same mirrors, same tiled floor and ceiling. They will pull you into a stall and lock it closed. At this point, you shouldn't say anything if you value your sanity. They will start to talk about the history of the medical practice. In grotesque detail, they will tell you about every ailment, every experiment, every person who considered themselves a doctor, every tiny adjustment made to a medicine because of the expiration date. This will last for days, so don't feel bad about falling asleep. They will simply continue from where they left off when you fell asleep. You may leave the stall, but the bathroom door will remain locked. You must listen to their story in full before you are allowed to leave. At the end of their long and droning explanation of medicine, you are free to leave. But if you do, you lose any chance of getting the object. If you remain in the bathroom, they will then ask you what you've come for. You should reply with one of two phrases. I seek only that which can stop the others, or I seek to join them in his presence. They will react to the former and the latter differently. If you chose the former, then they will try to kill you on the spot. With their bare hands, they will break a mirror and try to stab you with a shard. You must get a piece and try to stab them first. If you do, aim for the head, but not the eye. Should you survive, they will apologize for their actions, but you must then save their life using everything you know, which is now quite a bit. If you fail, your soul will be lost and left to wander the building. If you succeed, they will then do everything in their power to make you stay of your own will. Many go mad trying to resist. Others try to kill them again, and others still end their own lives. If, by the end of their treatment, you still live freely, you will be forced to look its true form straight in the eye. You will feel lost in its eye as it gazes at every sin you have ever committed, every travesty, every little bruise and bump. Any reaction that shows weakness will keep your mind, body, and soul tortured throughout eternity. If you waver, you are never leaving that room whole. If you persevere, the bathroom door will open, and you will be free to leave. If you choose the latter phrase, however, you will be rewarded by a visit with any or many other holders you have encountered in the past. You will find yourself restrained in an old field, its contents dead or dying, and you will be sent through their tortures again and again until death is a happy illusion. After they have had their fill, the holder of the second seed will question you again on any random person in the visiting area. Any wrong answer, and the problems of the people in the institution are yours now, but they at least go free. From that point, you will have two more options. The first is to leave and obtain the object. The other is to be relieved of the illnesses you now have. This involves a series of electroconvulsive therapy sessions and several surgeries sans anesthesia. The process may drive people madder, but if you are tough enough, you will survive and be healthy again. You will be free to leave. If you chose to obtain the object, then when you go to bed that night, you'll hear a soft word from them. When you wake up, you will find a large, dark book with instructions on how to grow plants that should have never existed. This book tells you how to grow and cultivate the seeds of specific plants to breed the first seed. This book is Object 98 of 538. The gathering storm grows with the seed. It's the Jesus holder. Good luck being crucified. Seed of Yggdrasil is my guess, or the Buddhist seeds. Just maybe. By the end of that, just maybe. The holder of the remains. In any city, in any country, go to any graveyard or cemetery you can get yourself into. When you reach the site, find the gravedigger and ask to visit someone who calls himself the holder of the remains. At first, the digger will ignore you. Do not say a word. Just stand there and watch him. Soon, the digger will grab a nearby shovel and lantern and walk out onto the graveyard. Follow him, and be respectful to the graves as you walk. Disturbing one will enrage the souls buried here. After a long walk, the digger will stop at an isolated, unmarked grave and start digging. As he does, night will fall quickly, lights will douse themselves, and soon it will be pitch black, with the only light coming from the lantern the digger brought. If, for any reason, the digger stops digging, say, "It must be done. I just want to talk." If the digging continues, you are in the clear. If the digger does not resume, run, and stop for no reason. Get as far away from the graveyard as you can. If morning comes, you manage to escape. If your world is forever dark, then they will not stop until they find you. Several hours will pass as the digger finishes. He'll crawl out of the now deep, unmarked grave. Inside, there will be a simple wooden coffin. Jump down and open it. Within will be a beautiful woman. Her skin is cold as death and white as the palest moon. There's only one thing to ask. What awaits them? If you say or do anything else, the digger will knock you out with his shovel and bury you alive. The moment you finish the question, her body will decay rapidly before your eyes. Do not turn your eyes in disgust. You must honor her and watch her return to the earth, even if the coffin rots away into the ground and her bones disintegrate. Although it is dark, the light from the lantern is enough to see. When the process is complete, a white rose will grow from the ground. It is beautiful, with a pristine bleached bud and a long green stalk. The petals are cold to the touch. Be careful of its thorns. Pluck it and exit the grave. The digger will be nowhere to be found. His shovel and lantern have likewise disappeared. Smelling the flower yields a heavenly scent, warming your soul from within. If you examine the grave that you had just exited from, you will find that it has been reburied, and looks as though it were completely undisturbed. Upon the once blank tombstone, however, are the words, "They must never come together. Never." The white rose is object 99 of 538. It was grown solely from the remains in the grave. Even after death, life persists. That one was actually kind of beautiful. Macabre, but kind of graceful. We are finally at 100 holders. Starting off the triple digits with the holder of the tower. In any city, in any country, go to any high security prison you can get yourself into. When you reach the front desk, ask to visit someone who calls himself the holder of the tower. Almost immediately, the guards will arrest you and admit you to the prison on death row without a trial. Your cell with the other death row inmates will be on the bottom level underground. Do not leave the cell. Do not eat any food or drink any water. Doing so would submit your inevitable doom on death row and lead to tortures best not written down. Stay awake as long as you can without sleeping. When your body collapses from exhaustion, you will fall into a dreamless sleep. When you awaken, your cell will be open, and the prison will be filled with a very thick fog. Walk out of the cell and go straight. It will soon become obvious that you are no longer in the prison. The cell behind you will quickly fade back into the fog. The shape of a large building will signal your arrival. Drawing closer reveals that it is leaning ever so slightly to the side, and a large portion of it is actually buried into the ground you walk on. Despite part of it being entombed in the earth, the top is shrouded in fog and is impossible to see. Find a window and climb in. The door is buried below you and unusable. There will be a nicely dressed old man waiting inside. He will greet you and begin to walk. The inside will be pitch black, save for a small sphere of light emanating from a candle the man holds. Follow him and ask, where were they separated? He will tell you in articulated detail the cruel story about the unforeseen separation of all the objects. The horrors described are unfit for human words. Imagery crawls into your mind like an urchin into your ear as he tells you the tale of the tower, where they were separated to end it all. He will go on to reminisce, in a horrific reverie, what happened to the place they were separated. You cannot interrupt him, and you must stay within his small sphere of light, for it is all that keeps the darkness away. Unrelenting terror hungers there. When he finishes, you both will arrive at a room. In the room will be a bloodied guillotine. The man will turn around and pull out a pocket watch. He will look at it and tell you that it is time. The pocket watch is object 100 of 538. It will forever count down the days to damnation or salvation. The choice is yours. Sweet, free watch. 10,000 hundo, it's the Dark Tower Stephen King time. The holder of cognition. This one looks pretty short. In any city, in any country, in any hotel, there is a room that is never available. Ask the clerk at the front desk to give you the best room on the 9th floor. It doesn't matter if the hotel is not 9 stories tall. The clerk will be overcome with a look of fear, and they will rush to the back room. The manager of the hotel will come out and silently lead you to an elevator in the basement of the hotel. The elevator will have several buttons with unrecognizable symbols. Press any 3 buttons in quick succession, and the elevator will descend. When the elevator stops, you will be in a clean and well-lit hallway. Walk into the room at the end of the hallway. Inside the room will be 3 windows, one on each wall. One window will display a view as if you were a few dozen stories up in the middle of an ambiguous city. The second will display a view as if you were in the middle of a foggy forest. If you look through the 3rd window, well, then the next fool to seek these objects will find nothing more of you than your blood on the walls and floor of this room. Spend 3 days in the room with no food or water, never looking at the 3rd window. You may leave the room and exit the hotel at any time, but you will be plagued by dreams of unimaginable suffering for the remainder of your life. Should you remain within the room for 3 days, you will be suddenly overcome with absolute knowledge of the human mind. Many go mad at this point. If you survive the rush of information, call aloud. What was he thinking? As soon as you finish speaking, you will be told. You are now the holder of cognition. Your thoughts are object 101 of 538. Your only salvation is to bring them together. short. The holder of soul. The holder of jazz? In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself into. When you reach the front desk, ask to visit someone who calls himself the holder of soul. Should a conspiratorial look come over the worker's face, he or she will raise one finger to his lips in a gesture of silence and hand you a small glass ball. Should you choose to look at this glass ball, you will see that half of it is pitch black, the black of deepest night, while the other half is made of the purest, soft, golden light of a happy summer day. The funny thing is that no matter how hard you stare, you will never be able to tell which half is which. Now is your last chance to leave. Should you throw down the glass ball, it will shatter, and you may leave and continue a normal life, but never again will you have this opportunity. Should you decide to continue, enter any door that you see. You will find yourself at the beginning of a path. The path itself is made of the cheapest of stone squares. They barely fit together, and weeds spring up between the cracks. But it is not the path that will attract your attention. To the right of the path, you will see scenes of happiness, joy, and love. However, if you look closely, you will see that these scenes are not nearly so pure as they seem. To the left of the path, you will see scenes of misery, deprivation, and hopelessness. However, if you look closely, you will see that these things are not as bad as they seem. You must follow the path. It will curve off to both sides from its starting position, but never will it fully enter either set of scenes. Should you be fooled by either of the scenes and step off the path, you will be stuck in the scene forevermore. Take care not to trip. Should you reach the end of the path, you will find a large oak door. The door will have no hinges, knob, or any sort of decoration. Speak aloud the phrase, "The sides are the same," and the door will disappear. Say anything else, and the door shall not move. Upon entering the room, you will see nothing, but feel as though you are being watched from all sides. Say to the invisible presences, "I walked down the middle." Should you say anything else, half of the unseen creatures will rip you to pieces. If you spoke the correct phrase, you will hear them. Half will scream, boo, or hiss. The other half will begin to tell you of your foolish mistake. However, if you listen carefully, you will hear a small applause. Close your eyes and walk toward this applause. When all sound stops, you will find yourself outside the door you first entered, holding the glass ball. That glass ball is object 102 of 538. Now you must judge for yourself which side is black and which is white. There is no wrong answer. The holder of the pact. In any city, in any country, go to any large forest you can get yourself into. When you enter, walk until darkness falls, getting as deep into the forest as you can. When the sun vanishes on the horizon, ask to visit someone who calls himself the holder of the pact. A chilling wind will rise up behind you, biting into your skin. Walk further into the forest. As dusk settles into night, you will come upon a rustic stone well and a hooded man standing near it. Walk to the well and stand on the opposite side of him. Sounds, faint and far away, will emit from the well. Do not look into the well, for even a glance will erupt horrors unto your mind and drive you to lunacy. In a dark, crooning voice, he will ask you your name. Tell him the truth. A dismal fate is all that awaits a liar. Your name will echo in the well. The sounds will grow excited and louder with your name. Hushed voices below whisper your name, barely audible above the growls. Hold out your hand over the well, and the hooded man will chant in a tongue that makes your knees weak and your body shake with chills. He will slice your hand with a dagger, and your blood will drip down into the well. The sounds will grow louder, almost unbearingly so. The whispers of your name will become moans of want, calling you to the well. The hooded man will respond to only one question. Who else has made this pact? The noises in the well will quiet down as he answers. He will answer you in times dating back before books, explaining the life of each person who has ever made this pact. Hundreds of people. Many had different reasons for doing it, and some had the same reasons as you. No matter the reason, however, they all shared the same fate. The hooded man will tell you their cruel death and their pitiful existence thereafter. All of them were thrown into damnation, their afterlife filled with torturous hells that make your skin ache and your stomach sick. He tells you of one person, the only person who successfully gathered them all together. Once his story is finished, dawn will be nearly broken. An onyx black velvet hand will emerge from the pitch black well. Telling where the well ends and the arm begins is impossible. The hand will be clutching a black heart. Take it with your uninjured hand. The dark heart is object 103 of 538. You have the object, but the denizens of the well have your name and your blood. Do not break the pact. Deal with the devil. Druid time. The holder of the... Maybe I should take a drink first. The holder of the hearing. In any city, in any country, go to any nightclub you can get yourself into. If you can muster your courage, seek out the DJ booth. Knock thrice on the door, but do not wait for a reply before opening. Once inside, do be sure to close the door behind you. Please know that under no circumstances should you let the DJ speak, for he is a trickster and would love nothing more than to lead you to a most gruesome fate. He was once a seeker like yourself, you see, and would do anything to be free once more. Ask the DJ to play the holder of the hearing. Should the DJ ignore you, then leave the club as inconspicuously as you can. The patrons, failed seekers all, will soon know your presence and try to make you stay through whatever means necessary. Should the DJ smile grimly, on the other hand, you are free to try for this object. You will point to a black trunk in the corner you will not have noticed before. Open the trunk and climb inside. You should thank the DJ. It never hurts to be polite. Close the lid and shut your eyes as you begin to fall. In the all-encompassing darkness, you should feel your feet hit solid, albeit vibrating, ground. You are not yet safe, though, and you should not open your eyes. It is not certain how long you will wait in this blackness, but do not open your eyes or show any sign of impatience. This holder is studying you, judging you, and it is your doom should you be found wanting. The only time you should utter a sound is if the vibrating beneath your feet stops. At this point, quickly throw your left arm out, palm up, and shout, "Continue the song, I implore, lest it be ever silent." The vibrating should come back. If it does not, then I would suggest keeping your eyes closed. If the vibrating comes back or is uninterrupted, you will eventually hear a woman humming by your ear and stroking your hair as a mother would her beloved child. Open your eyes, but continue facing forward even though you see her lithe fingertips in the corner of your vision. Any hesitation or incorrect question at this point will be your undoing. Steel your resolve, and in a gentle voice ask, "What do they hear that we do not?" A piercing cry will ring out all around you, ever growing in magnitude. From the black plain in front of you, a hand, fetid and gray, will break through the darkness. Out will crawl a woman's corpse, screaming with the voice of every victim and mourning lover. She has been long dead and awaiting this question from you, dear seeker. In her haste to get to you, she will tear her flesh and break her bones, but do not step back or show the repulsion you will surely feel. Ask again your question in a tender voice, though your heart breaks at the sound of her cries, and your stomach turns at the sight of her rotted form. She will crawl up your body and cup your face in her hands. Her eyes, long dried, will roam over your face, and her jaw will quiver with the pain of a childless mother. "I will give you the means to know, but do not begrudge me what you learn," she will say, as she presses her putrid lips to your own in a most passionate kiss. You will pass out. You will wake up in a burned-out shell of a building. In your hand will be a pair of headphones emitting a murmured hum. If you listen very carefully, you can make out what sounds like words. These headphones are object 104 of 538. You can now hear them, but do not let them hear you. The holder of the voice. In any city, in any country. Go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself into. When you reach the front desk, ask to view something known as the holder of the voice. The worker may try to hide a brief look of panic, but will eventually compose himself. He will throw you a small, black, unmarked plastic bag and walk away irrationally. You do not have to follow him, but something will bid you to trace his footsteps. You will pass through a dimly lit hallway with panoramic windows for walls. Regardless of the time of day, the outdoors will appear to be dark. Should you look out the windows, you will only see an endless stretch of woods. If you think you see motion in the woods, do not turn away. Keep walking up towards the end of the hall. There will be no door, only a blank wall with peeling wallpaper. The worker will tear the wallpaper off just a bit, then flee into the shadows. When you inevitably finish tearing the wallpaper, a small, dusty attic room will be revealed. In the center sit two objects, a small doll and a tape recorder. Both are ancient and coated in dust. If you examine the doll, you will see a small metal crank on it. Wind the crank, and the doll will emit a sound somewhat akin to fingernails scratching against wood. Press play on the tape recorder. It will play even if there are no batteries. There will be the muffled sound of a female voice in distress. You will not be able to make out the words. It will go on and on until you press stop. The final decision facing you will be whether or not you should play the two sounds together. The bag given to you will contain two rusted railroad spikes. You know what you will do. The moment you attempt to start both sounds at the same time, the ground will begin to shake, and the room around you will begin to crackle and start coming apart. If you were to survive the collapse of the building, you'll be haunted by a sound so shrill and grating that should you remain listening to it for even a small amount of time, you shall bleed from the ears until death. Even before that, you will feel strongly compelled to impale both of your eardrums with the railroad spikes. Your only hope is to, through the evil sounds piercing the air, nail the doll and tape recorder to the floor where you stand. Should you succeed, you will find a tape inside the broken tape recorder. It is unplayable and emanates a buzzing hum if you listen closely. That object is 105 of 538. When the time comes, all held within shall be revealed. Fucking tape recorder, we're getting a bit old school here. The holder of intuition. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself into. When you reach the front desk, ask to visit someone who calls himself the holder of intuition. The receptionist will stand and lead you to a blank white door, but will not open it, nor will you be able to. Return to the desk and wait for the receptionist to return as well. Repeat your request and wait silently while the receptionist fishes a key ring from the desk. The key ring will have 20 keys of various sizes, shapes, and colors. If you return to the door, you will not know which key to use to open it, and using the wrong one will freeze your body at the doorway for eternity. Return to the desk again and ask for the final piece of this puzzle. The receptionist will ask for your forearm and slice a fine line with a razor from your inner elbow to the palm. The receptionist will then sit back down and will fall totally silent, responding only to one question. How will I find the truth? He or she will respond, though the truth is elusive, you will now be helped in finding it, and disappear. You will glance down at the cut and find that it is now glowing the most brilliant white. Startled, you will drop the keys and the glow will vanish. On picking up the keys again, you'll find that the white glow returns only when you hold the correct key. If you can maintain your composure after this, move on and use the key to open the door. Pass through the door and you will find yourself in a circular white room with 20 more doors. Point at each of the doors in turn, and your cut will glow the same brilliant white when pointing at the correct door. Take that door. The others lead to a trap door to an eternal fall. And you will be at the desk again, but a woman in a red coat will be sitting at the desk in place of the receptionist. She will ask for your forearm and rub her index and middle finger along the cut. It will glow strongly to your touch, and you will feel a sensation of cold so overpowering that you'd prefer to have it lit aflame. Make no move, however extreme the sensations. Simply stand there, as still as you can be, until she is done, at which point she will turn and leave the room. Do not follow her, or your quest so far will be for naught, as you will die an unimaginably painful death. Looking back to the desk, you will find a slip of paper that the woman has left behind. Picking it up, you will read, "Whenever you find yourself lost, you will again be pointed in the right direction." Your pathfinding cut is Object 106 of 538. May it point you the correct way when you need it the most. I think I could probably get up to 110 and then call it there. The holder of the blue. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself into. When you reach the front desk, ask to visit someone who calls himself the holder of the blue. The worker will take a step back and rustle through a drawer. Should they take your eyes off you, or you off them, run. They will alert the holder, and the fate of all those in the room will be sealed. Should they hand you an old notebook, take it, turn, and look for a chair. It will be blue and marked "fresh paint." The seat is dry. Sit in it and open the book. Look carefully. It will be filled with gibberish and pointless drivel. Look for writing on a page in an ink that matches the chair. This will tell you vital words, but they change each time this holder is called upon. Return the notebook to the clerk. They will wave you to a blue door with a paper sign on it. Lift that paper to reveal an arcane mark. Touch that mark with your hand and say the first vital word. Do not move your hand, even when ice covers it. Move your hand only when the door swings away. Blue halogen lights drown this hallway in light. There will be 5 doors ahead of you, 2 on each side and 1 on the end. Go to each of the doors, first on the left, then the right, then the end. Say the second vital word at each door. If you think about it, this word will tell you which door is the right one. Each door carries with it different trials. We who write have yet to test each door. Know this, regardless of what horrors await you, the third vital word will keep your mind from bleeding into madness. Meditate on it well. At the end, you will find a pedestal with a book and pen. It will detail every step from the moment you realized the objects were real. Read through this book to the end. At the first blank space, take up the pen and write the 4th vital word. That word will vanish into a plume of smoke. The smoke will coalesce into an imp with a face made from faces of all those you hate. Ask the imp, what happens to those who fail to seek them? It will tell you every horrid detail, down to every splintered toenail and every burnt-out eye socket. As it speaks, it will dissipate into the air. When it finishes its tale, it will be gone. The pedestal will slide away, revealing a small mask with hair, almost as if it were to be fitted over a doll's face. Take this up, and if you so choose, take up the book as well. Jump into the hole the mask was kept in. You will fall into a shower room in the place you call home. This mask is object 107 out of 538, the Mask of the Blue Path. Its face always looks forward to when they are reunited. The book is the first object of We Who Write, the journal of the writer. Hold it tight, for you may yet join us. Huh. That's a new development that I'm not familiar with. The holder of the red. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself into. When you reach the front desk, ask to visit someone who calls himself the holder of the red. The worker will nod and pull out a dusty old notebook and hand it to you. She will then point out a door labeled No Entry. As you enter the door, take a look at the notebook. It will seem completely blank at first, but upon further inspection, a random page will have 4 numbers written in red ink. Memorize the numbers and continue down the hall. Eventually, you will reach a red wrought iron door. There will be a number lock in the center of the door with 4 spaces. The door is slightly warm to the touch. Enter the number you memorized. Enter the wrong number, and a violent end awaits you. Inside several red lights hang from the ceiling, casting everything in a semi-dark yet seeable shade of crimson. The walls are covered in children's toys, dolls, and model trains. Walk forward. Inside, a small boy will be crouching with his back to you. He will respond to only one question. Who can control them? You will be answered with giggles from the child. He will turn around and stab you with a needle attached to a strand of thread. Let him do so. Stopping him will only make the pain much worse and last an eternity. The sewing needle will pop out your back, and he will pull on it, letting the thread become coated in a thick layer of your blood. Once done, you will begin to gracefully sew. Wait, and do not speak. Do not move. Do nothing to draw attention to yourself. Before long, you will have a small, blood-red doll in the shape of a human. The doll has no face or any other distinguishing features, but the craftsmanship is perfect. Protect it as though you were to protect your own life. Whatever happens to it also happens to you. That doll is object 108 of 538. Do you control the objects, or do the objects control you? Dun, dun, dun! Okay, just a couple more. My lips aren't the only thing that's getting tired. Thank you, wifey, for the trifecta of health. Sitting good, drink Wawa, stretch. All the new info that I totally heard and definitely ain't about to go nunai lurk lurk. I think the frog missed the HP. Regardless, have a nice lurk. I'll be wrapping up shortly. Timing. The trifecta of health was before last story. Oh. I see. Well, I did it now. If that counts for anything. Anywho, the holder of rigor mortis in any city, in any country, go into any hospital you can get into. When you enter, you will see the receptionist behind her desk. Do not approach her. Simply stand where you are. Then immediately fake your best seizure or any other serious medical condition you can do. The receptionist will see this, gasp, and then call for help. Several doctors will then put you on a stretcher and wheel you through many doors down a seemingly never-ending hallway. The lights will flash on and off, and you will catch a quick glimpse of the doctors in their deceased forms. After what seems like an hour, you will become weary and lose all feeling and awareness of your limbs. You will be wheeled into a room and left there. It will look like a normal operating room, with an operating table containing a scalpel, needles, syringes, and other medical paraphernalia. From there, fall asleep lying on your back, your head facing the roof. When you wake up, you will find a conjoined twin doctor, conjoined at the hip, standing beside your bed. You may try to sit up, but you will find that you are stiff as a rock, and your body from the neck down has been numbed. The right head will simply say, "All right, he's awake," and begin to operate. The doctor closest to your bed will tear open your shirt and request items from the far doctor. You will hand him a scalpel and begin cutting a long line from the top of your chest to the beginning of your belly button. It's best you don't look, for you may pass out or simply go insane. You will feel no pain, but the knowledge of being cut open is enough of a burden. For an hour they will be operating on you, as the right doctor dissects you and the left doctor hands tools. At the very end, he will stitch you up and then leave covered in blood and other bodily fluids. To return to the real world, simply fall asleep again. When you wake up, you will feel a discomfort in your lower abdomen. If you look down, you will find a scalpel slightly piercing your stomach, making a vertically slanted flap of bloodied skin. Take the scalpel and bandage up your stomach using the bandage wrap beside you. After this, make your way to the front of the desk, keeping the scalpel with you. When the receptionist asks if she can help you, stab her in the forehead with the scalpel. She will scream loudly in agony and collapse to the ground. Trudge around to the back of the desk and lean down to her body. Hold the scalpel to her neck and ask loudly and angrily, "Why are they dying?" She will cough and sputter blood, then tell you a story of a mass killing. Everyone in the story that died painfully and without mercy. Many limbs were amputated from these people and were killed for the sheer joy of killing. The story will make you shudder in fear and want to leave this wretched place. After she has finished the story, her eyes will turn black and she will spit blood at your face. Jam the scalpel into her forehead again. As quickly as you did this, leave the hospital. They will hurt you, and they will kill you. The scalpel is object 109 of 538. As a second scalpel, you can now wield one in each hand as weapons to fight for your life. You'll know when it's time. Okay. Last one. The Holder of Humility. In any city, in any country, go to any hospital you can get yourself into and ask to visit the Holder of Humility. The attendant will bow their head, grasp your hand, and lead you down a pure white hallway. You must keep your hand within the attendant's hand if you wish to live. If you walk down the hallway, you'll hear a piano playing faintly in the distance. Should the song stop playing, whisper, "You missed a key." If the song ceases to play, the hallway will turn pitch black. Not even a miracle will save you from what you will then experience. Should the song keep playing, continue down the hallway until the attendant lets go of your hand and runs ahead. Don't bother chasing after them. Walk forward 5 steps, then turn to the left. You should see a lone doorknob on the wall. If there is no knob, you'll be wandering an endless hallway for all eternity. If there is a knob, turn it and enter the room. The melody of the piano will be consumed by silence within the desolate room. As you enter the room, shut the door behind you. It should lock you inside. The room is small, the walls and floor covered with droplets of water, a clean bed with a pillow, both covered in clean white sheets, a digital clock with the time 3 p.m., an old black grand piano, and a bare mirror hanging on the wall. Look at your reflection in the mirror. You should see yourself as you are, and the room as it is. Stare straight into your eyes. Ask nothing but this question: why have they no humility? Your reflection shall then smile and back away. You will witness yourself killing the child once inhabiting that room, with swift stabs, punches, tearing the child apart limb from limb, and a gunshot to the head. A silent scream pierces the disturbing silence. The mirror shall then break into 7 pieces. The room you are in has become the exact image of the room within the mirror. Droplets of water are now blood, and the mutilated body now lay in the once clean bed. The grand piano, now old with the keys broken and scattered, and the digital clock looks like it was thrown against the wall. A vague yet familiar bullet shines on the now blood-stained pillow next to a gun. The body will speak to you, telling you to stay within the room, but do not let this bother you. You must shoot yourself with the bullet, allowing it to enter your heart. Excruciating pain will consume your body. Don't hesitate to scream. If you are lucky, you will wake up alive and well in a hospital bed of the hospital you visited. The time will be 3 p.m., and a slight scar will be upon your chest. Check under the pillow your head is laying upon. The diamond bullet is object 110 of 538. Would you dare kill to keep the objects apart? I don't know. So next one is 111, the Never Ender, but that's gonna be it for tonight. Hoo-ah! I always like looking through the holders yeah, it has its problematic elements, but it's a real fascinating concept, just overall. Oh, I'm getting eepy. Let me see. I should be streaming next Monday, if all goes according to plan, according to intention. Haven't yet figured out what I'll do, but you know, it's Monday with your Froggy. And if you ask me, that's an A+ way to wrap up a Monday. Not to toot my own horn. I can feel my eyelids starting to drift. I should probably bring up our raid messages and take under consideration who we might raid for tonight. I think just before that, though, a couple things I actually wanted to mention. The first, so you remember how I would occasionally promo my my profile, my account over on a website called Co-Host? Well, Co-Host is basically dead. It's gonna be fully defunct, deleted by the end of 2024. Unfortunately, the dev team just really could not keep up with the costs of upkeep for the website. So unfortunately, that's another potential social media alternative to Twitter. I still have Tumblr and Mastodon. Well, I'm on two different Mastodon instances. One is for my VTuber stuff, and the other is for not VTuber stuff. But overall, yeah, right now it's basically, you'll only be able to find me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Mastodon, specifically VT Social. So, RIP Co-Host. Co-Host may die, but Eggbug is forever. And then number two, well, I might, I guess I'll probably, like, announce it, like, maybe on Twitter. I've already announced it on Tumblr, of course, and then a myriad of different Discord servers that I'm in, but basically the long and short of it, I decided, after a lot of tossing and turning about it, I recently took my old, I already took my meds. But basically I took one of my old, my old unfinished NaNoWriMo novel, and I put it up on the Internet Archive under the CC0 license, therefore putting it up as public domain. And that's kind of a big deal to me, because you all know me, I love the public domain. So that's just kind of a thing I've done recently. If you dig through my Tumblr profile, I think you could probably just like search up the tags like public domain within my profile, and it should be the first thing to pop up. So if that's something y'all might be interested in looking through or using for anything, the floor is yours. I was planning to put it in public domain anyway, but for some reason I thought, you know, there was other stuff I thought I wanted to do first, but then I just kind of stopped and thought, like, if I'm gonna put it into public domain anyway, then, like, what am I waiting for? Like, why wait? And so I put it out there now. And now it's there. For everyone. Okay, I'm gonna find a raid target now. Like I said, I'm anticipating to stream once again on Monday. I don't think I'll be streaming next Thursday. But, you know, Friday is pretty much just as likely as Monday. Which is to say, I'm banking on doing it unless, you know, any mix-ups or life stuff fucks around with my schedule. Oh, I'm tired. I want to take a nap. But who should we raid? I see there's Moth Mom. I think we raided Clown Kiwi last time, right? I think. There's Yancha, Hanao. Yeah, let's raid Hanao. It looks like he's doing some artwork. It'll be a nice chill time. I mean, I'm pretty sure this stream was also pretty chill if you know, you're not easily spooked. Dash raid. Ha now VT. Yes. Oh, is he an elf now? Or is this just a different model of his? Normally he's a deer. I gotta cut myself off and take a nap. I am so tired. I don't know why I'm so tired. I thought I got some pretty decent rest today. Oh well. Body do what bod want do. Well, I will see you all next stream, Lily Pals, with whatever I get up to. Thanks for hanging out with me, regardless of all the disturbing narrations and descriptions. I always love you, Lily Pals. Have a good time zone. Oh yeah, Swimmy!